Hello everyone, welcome back to the beginning of our GT-R build. First thing we're going to do here is I'm going to show you how to build some templates to cut out some of the body to install the wide body kit. The first thing I'm going to do is take some of this painter's tape here. I'm going to lay it over what it indicates needs to be cut out here, and I'm just going to trace it with a pencil. Now what I did here was I made sure to trace beyond what needs to be cut out so I have a reference point for when I put it on the vehicle's body. After it's traced, you can see the line you need to indicate on here, so I just go ahead and tape it on the vehicle's body. The next step, I'm going to take my X-Acto blade, cut out what doesn't need to be there, and then I use the Sharpie right here to mark what I need to cut out. So all I'm doing here is scribbling across the tape line, and then when I peel the tape off, it'll indicate exactly what needs to be cut off. Now, obviously you repeat that for all four of the wheels. You also have to shave off a little piece of the underbody. After this, I got my Dremel out with a sanding bit, and I used that to shave off what needed to come off. Fortunately, I didn't film it that great, as I wanted to make sure I didn't mess it up. Now the bright side is that it seems to give you a lot of leeway. I compared it a few times as I was assembling, and it seems like you could have taken off a lot more and it wouldn't have been a big deal. Next step is going to be to mark and sand the mold lines. Now on this kit, you're meant to shave off the Nissan emblems as well as the GT-R emblem on the rear bumper. So I used a flat blade with my Tamiya hobby knife and scraped those off. Obviously you want to be careful when you do this, because if the blade slipped, I could have easily cut my finger. And then we sand all the mold lines off. I'm also going to sand off the residual Sharpie from the wheel well cutout, and I'm going to make sure they're nice and smooth. And then I go ahead and give it a rub down with some 600 grit Tamiya sanding sponges. And here I am making sure that where the Nissan emblem is completely smooth. And here I'm using a sanding stick just to smooth out a couple rough edges I had from the Dremel. Here I'm lining up the front bumper. Now this kit doesn't have an engine, so you could go ahead and glue the hood down if you wished. I'm holding out for a regular GT-R kit that might have an engine so I can get one installed in here in the future. So I just tape everything in place to make sure I have everything lined up properly, and then I'm going to use some Tamiya ultra thin glue to glue the bumper in place. It's worth noting that after gluing this bumper in, when it got to the point to put the grill in, I had a really hard time doing that, so you might want to leave the bumper off and reattach it afterwards.
Let's make this world that you and I built. Stick around, stick around. I don't care how many times it takes, just prove me wrong, prove me wrong.
I always like to do a couple fittings, make sure everything lines up properly. Next, I'm going to install the rear bumper. I have to say, everything on this kit fit together amazingly. As I said earlier, this is the first Aoshima kit I've ever done, and since I've bought quite a few more, because I definitely enjoyed putting this one together.
Let's build a rocket ship and fly far away from here. Let's look at stars as we pass and say we'll never look back. Oh my, how we shine like the brightest ones. Oh my, how we try to become someone. Oh my, how we shine like the brightest ones. Oh my, how we try.
Next step's going to be putting on the side skirts. They are set up in a way where the notches are, they can only go on one way, so you can only get it right.
I built the rocket ship that took me straight to your heart. I see the colors fly by. I couldn't stop if I tried. Oh,
And then we're going to put on the Libertyworks wide body kit. Again, everything lined up terrific. Didn't have any issues here. Just line everything up, glue it in place, and you're good to go.
oh my, how we try to become someone. Oh my, how we shine like the brightest ones. Oh,
Now it's another great thing to note that on both of these there is an actual line in the side skirt that lines up with the bumper, so it's really easy to get everything lined up properly. I also considered putting some body filler on the bottom of this to fill in that gap, but then I realized that the actual body kit would likely have that same gap there, so I left it.
I crash landed on the moon.
obviously you just repeat it for all 4 corners.
So good night to my dark side. It's been nice to hide you from pain. When will we meet again, you say? How about we pick up where we left off? How did I not see this coming? Into the bright side of suffering. It's all I know. It's not where you're headed. It's where you'll go. To whom it may concern. So I'll try so damn hard, or I'll die trying to explain. It's not where you're headed. It's where you'll go. To whom it may concern.
Next, I'm going to make some locating pins for the mirrors. Find a lot of these kits, when the mirror just glues on the outside, it doesn't like to line up properly. So what I do is I just make a notch in the middle of it, get my pin vise and drill it out a little bit, and I glue a piece of mechanics wire in.
I don't
So again, first thing I do is I use my X-Acto blade to make a little notch so the pin vise knows exactly where to go, and then I drill it in just a couple millimeters. Then I repeat the process on the door, so I know exactly where that pin needs to line up. Now on the kit, there's a little oval actually molded into the door that indicates where the mirror should go. Doesn't really show up in the video here, but I'm just going in the dead center of that and making the hole. Next, I cut off a couple pieces of mechanics wire. Then we get some Bob Smith Industries Super Gold Plus, and we're going to glue these pins into each of the mirrors. Now it doesn't matter how long these pins are, all you need to do once you install them into the vehicle is just cut them down flush with the vehicle itself, and you're good to go. And after that one disappeared, I had to go ahead and cut another one. Next video, we're going to prime everything. I may even get to painting the video in the vehicle in the next video. Now this vehicle is done. If you want to check me out at JD Scale Models at Instagram, you can see the completed vehicle. And otherwise, I will see you all next time. If you haven't already done so, please go ahead and subscribe. If you have anything to say, leave me a comment. Thank you. Have a great day. We'll see you next time.